Abel just gave me a tattoo. Now let's get ready for the gig and interview him in his studio. Here we go. Hello, Internet, and welcome to The Devil Wants to Know. I'm Noelle, aka Daddy Satan, and I will be interviewing
Abel of Inked Navel Tattoo, also sometimes known as Angel Rays.
Yes. So, Abel isn't a drag artist, but or do you do drag?
Sometimes,
Ooh, we gotta talk about that. Yes! Okay, so first, let's talk about your drag. Tell me about it, because I don't know about your drag.
Yeah, so I do, I will occasionally perform under the name Angel Rays, and I really like to just have fun with my fellow queer community and be able to express myself in ways that I really wasn't able to in my youth, and be able to have experiences that were not accessible to me at that time. And I think it's just really fun to be inspired by my local drag community and be able to learn from them as far as what they've learned with makeup techniques in drag and how our local scene does drag. And I really honestly just enjoy being able to have a little bit of fun on stage with my fellow queers.
Hell yeah.
And I like to do ethereal looks. I would say that my presentation is more feminine than masculine, but I'm certainly not hard one way or the other. As the name suggests, I like a lot of angelic motifs. I like a lot of lace work. I gotta say I'm a fan of Daddy Satan, as I also like to play on religious themes. One of my favorite performances I ever did, I walked out with a really large white veil and these big drapey sleeves, and I was hiding a huge picture of Jesus.
Ooh.
That I then put up on a pedestal and I prayed to.
Nice. I love that. That's amazing. I can't believe I've never seen you perform before. That's on my bucket list now.
It's rare. It's a rarity. Tucson rarity.
Tucson rarity and oddity, just like all other things in Tucson. Tucson is such a weird vibe. It's very artsy. It's literally immaculate vibes. Every time I come here, I get so inspired. Everybody's so nice and so openly queer as well. Okay, Mijito, he gave me the option to perform in Phoenix or in Tucson, and I was like, Tucson, please, please, please.
And we are so blessed. Or cursed.
Cursed. So tell me about you. What is your day-to-day, and then how did you get into the drag scene as well?
Right, so I am a tattoo artist. Is my primary career path. Gotta get on brand today.
Yes!
And I do, outside of tattooing, I do a lot of black ink work, drawing, and multimedia artwork, as well as poetry and writing, and I'm just very involved in the arts, very inspired by the arts. A day in the life of Abel sometimes looks like waking up, feeding my cat who's yelling at me. So she gets fed before I get coffee a lot of the time. So that she gets fed, and then I will drink coffee out on my porch, which is one of my favorite parts of the day.
Cute.
And I listen to the little songbirds, and I then will a lot of times get into working on whatever project I'm working on at the time, and then kind of as my day goes by, I get back to messages. I touch base with some of the shops in town that feature my artwork. one of which is Nexus Occult Books and Oddities, where you
Ooh.
can find entomology
Ooh.
design pieces that are by me, as well as you can buy bones from them that are processed by me as well.
Ooh.
I won't have claim to make them. That's all Mother Nature. But, and then I'll go home and come back to my honey and eat good food, and it's a good time.
Nice.
In my day job life, I sell bugs on the internet, which is very different, but I feel like relevant to my character.
Yes, it's part of your lore.
You know, definitely part of my lore. I work for an online retail entomology company, and I talk to people on the internet about the bugs they've bought and
Nice.
the color of the bugs they've bought and the shape of the bugs they've bought, and I talk to them about what bugs they might like to buy.
Nice.
And I tell them about how to care for the bugs that they've bought, and sometimes I make little videos about the bugs.
Nice. That's awesome. We love bugs.
We do love bugs here.
What's your favorite bug?
I don't know that I have like the one favorite bug, but I do really like, as a catch-all, I really like sphinx moths,
Ooh.
which are sometimes also referred to as hawk moths or hummingbird moths.
Yeah!
Yeah!
Nice.
Here in Arizona, we have a huge, diverse bug ecology. We have so many insects here, which I love. Some people are a little bit horrified about, but honestly, like, very few of them can really do anything to hurt people, as well as, like, even the ones you think can hurt you really aren't interested in hurting you. They're actually really afraid of you. But I would say sphinx moths, we have here in Tucson. We get a lot of what's called Hyles lineata, or the white-lined sphinx moth. They're like light brown, and they have these really prominent white stripes that come through their wings. And they've got like a tan body, and then they have like black and pink markings on their wings, and they're just really sweet. If you see them flying around, you might think that they're a little hummingbird, but if they land, it's like, wow, that's kind of a big moth. But they're my favorite. I love them so much.
Cute. Just a little baby.
They're all just little babies.
Yes. Now we can jump back into your drag, how you got into drag.
Yeah, so I really probably did not really start delving into doing drag myself or doing any type of like makeup art, honestly, up until like really just about, it's a little over a year ago now. It was like a year ago last month.
Congrats.
Thank you, thank you. My drag anniversary was pretty splendid.
Nice.
It was pretty close to 420, and if you're in the know about Girl Bong, we'll just leave it at that.
Nice.
But I really got into the drag community early on in my moving to Tucson. I made friends with a few people who, unbeknownst to me, were pretty well known in the scene here in town, namely Piranha and Javi Drapus and Zena Karina, who make up the Tarp Queens, as well as Nebula and a few other folks of that ilk. And I started going to shows to really support my friends primarily, but found out that the drag scene here in Tucson was so much different than what I had like believed drag to be, which I don't have anything against, but it was more openly and like, what would be the word, like fluidly queer, as opposed to like the very rigid, like almost in a way like heterosexual like appeal of drag that like I feel like is often presented like publicly,
Definitely.
Especially like nationally, and it was like, wow, this is such a cool art form and like a place in my community, I feel really like safe and I feel really good and seen and like excited about. And so I love supporting my friends, but beyond supporting my friends, started going to shows just because I was like, wow, this is really fun. I really enjoy this. I like paying queer people for showing their queerdom and their skills. And it just always struck me as such a fun time. And just the like range of performances and like camp to like serious that there was, it was honestly really inspiring, and it always left me feeling really good.
Hell yeah, that's Tucson for you.
Yeah.
Forgot to mention, Tucson also has a smell to it, but that just comes with the good art.
You know?
You can't have good art without the aroma. New band name. So how did you meet that group, mostly the Tarp Queens and everybody else who comes along with it?
So I met one of the Tarp Queens, Piranha, through a friend who was going to queer like youth group meetings that I was also going to, and I got invited to a like morning craft and like brunch and tea like excursion
Nice.
at this person's house, and I didn't know that they were like a drag queen or anything. I knew that they were a queer friend of a friend of mine. And we went and I had a really good time. I think they were probably, I want to say working on like sewing something.
Mm-hmm.
They were definitely doing like some sort of costumage work. I think I was probably drawing with like ink and marker.
Nice.
And like one of their younger siblings was like running around, and it was super fun. It was really cute. Did that a few times. I would go once a month, and got to know them that way, just personally. And I honestly don't. It was definitely a little bit into our friendship that I started going to drag events that they were at. And I think that the first show that I went to was either held at Splinter Collective or it was the School of Drag like end of year performance show.
Nice.
And if it wasn't one or the other, it was like one and then the other shortly after.
Nice. Awesome.
Yeah.
So what does drag mean to you?
Drag to me is I would say pushing the boundaries and pushing the limits of gender expression, regardless of whatever gender expression is being shown. I think sometimes it's also a very exaggerated expression of sexuality, but that it's not necessarily one and the same. I think that it's a yes and type situation as opposed to like it is or it isn't. I've been to all ages drag shows. I've been to very not all ages drag shows, and I have really enjoyed both. And really, drag to me is, I think it's queer resilience. I think it's queer community. I think it's queer art. And I think it's really beautiful, and I think it's very connecting, and I think it can be very uplifting.
I love that. Yes.
Are you excited about your show tonight?
Oh, fuck yeah. Mijito is the coolest ever. Like, for one, BIPOC people in alternative queer spaces. And not only that, but cultivating those spaces. Like, thank you so much for what you do. because we need this shit, especially in times like these. And to be able to be out there and do something a little different and just alternative and goth, that's like all my branding. So giving a space specifically for that, like, thank you so much.
Really?
I fucking love those gigs. And then just all of the people that are gonna be there. Like, I haven't been in Tucson for a while, so getting to see all my friends again. And I literally have like a list of people that I need to see. So I'm very excited for my gig tonight.
That's awesome.
What was one of your favorite gigs you've ever been to that you can think of? They're all amazing, I know.
They're all wonderful. I think probably the show that I touched on earlier, that was my favorite performance I've ever given in drag. So it's definitely a standout in my mind. It was a drag show that I had helped put together for an oddities and curiosities, like, queer-centered space that's not around anymore, but at the time, was fairly bustling. And it was for a Pride event that the drag show was called Oddly Proud.
Cute.
Yes, and all the proceeds from that event, from door sales, went to a charity called Thompson House here in Tucson, which helps disparaged and trans youth that are experiencing houselessness situations, especially centering BIPOC trans individuals and trans femmes specifically in the queer youth community here in Tucson. And so that was an aspect of it I really liked, was being able to give back to the community and make a little bit of money in tips and whatnot for the performer. So it was like a win-win for everybody.
Oh, yeah.
And people got to feel like they were giving back by donating their time. And so that aspect of the show was really cool. I really enjoyed that. However, honestly, really incredible performances that night. I talked a little bit about my performance. I'll talk a little bit more about it, but essentially I came out very overly veiled Virgin Mary type situation.
Nice.
And then I with this long white gown, and during the performance I unzip the gown and then I have my sleeves turn into wings.
Nice.
And then I'm wearing a one-piece bodysuit, and it's really fun. It was a really good bit. I really enjoyed it. I was a mix of a moth and an angel for my makeup appearance.
Nice.
And that was really fun, but I got to see Clairvoyant perform, and dressed as a very super exaggerated British Queen Parliament huge wig, very pompous, almost looked like porcelain.
Yes.
So good. The choreography of her set was so awesome. Dikeel Fagson's, I want to say first performance might have been at that show, if not their very second one.
Nice.
That was really fun. Jester Judas, or Mother Junk, I think is their drag name, did a bit where they had somebody hold up a huge cross with a paper Jesus cutout on it.
I love that.
And they had tear off pants. Joe Baby was there. Got a little bit frisky with a deer bust. And whipped out a saxophone mid-performance.
On brand.
So good. Love that.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. So it was a wonderful show.
That sounds amazing.
No
No Jesus.
Jesus.
Jesus not allowed.
Nah.
We're not on speaking terms.
Understandable. I'm so sorry.
How dare you. Okay. Do you remember the first time you met me or saw me? Because I don't.
Ooh, you didn't meet me for like a while. I think I am almost positive that I saw you probably at either Splinter or Owl's Club the first time that I saw you. I don't remember which. Because I think I probably saw you perform like minimum 3 times before we like ever actually like talked or were introduced to each other. I feel like I like actually met you at Owl's, like when like we like met because I like hugged you like after the show was at Owl's Club, and it was for I want to say the first Lilith show
Probably.
and I had seen you a few times at that point. I was like, oh my god, he's so cool.
No.
Oh my god. And like you were always very memorable. Like whenever you're performing and like if you're taking tip money, you're always like very intentional with it. And I was like, yeah.
Thank you.
And of course, thank you. And I remember like some passing of like names
Roses?
a little bit.
Oh,
roses? No.
I was thinking of my rose number. Sorry.
No, I wish. No, but I like. It was like everybody like at the end that like was like gone up and like was like dancing at the end with like a lot of the other performers, and like we were like hi, like oh my gosh, and then like I think like you had asked me like I was like one of us had like asked the other like can I hug you, like is that fine?
Yeah.
Like I remember, and then it was like total like womp like bear hug like type shit, and it was
Nice.
awesome. And then I like left after, but like not because I was like, man, that would have been so fun to stay, but
I probably left immediately after too.
you know, that's kind of the vibe.
Yeah. Do everything and then ghost because it's a lot.
Yeah,
It's a lot.
No, you got your checklist of like, okay, I need to talk to this person, and then you talk to this person, and then you talk to this person. Okay, and then I'm going home.
Gotta clock out.
Also, can we talk about the Eva Mew tattoo?
Yes.
That's so fucking sick.
Actually, okay, it's so bad. I got this. Well, it looked amazing when I first got it. It really did, but then it was right when I was breaking up with my partner, and I was smoking like way too much, and I would be like, man, that's really itchy. Oh, fuck. So it's really scarred, and I don't smoke anymore. Yeah. So, you know, actually, when I first moved to Prescott, I went to Ross, and one of the workers came up to me, and he just goes, meow. And I was like, what? He was like, meow. What? And he was like, meow. Meow. Oh, okay.
The experiences that happen at Ross Dress for Less stores are very bizarre.
Yes.
I don't feel like I'm in like a real environment when I'm there. I feel like I'm in like a half-loaded like PC modded game when I'm in a Ross.
Hello everybody, my name is Markiplier.
Yes, but that it could go wrong at any
No,
second.
yeah, like there's like it's like they have like, you know, like the horror like, or like not, they're not technically horror games, but like there's a lot of it's not virtual reality, but where it's like simulator games.
Yeah.
Simulator games where they're very unnerving, and then there's like horror themes sometimes that happen.
Like Granny.
Some time to trank Grandma. Grandma, you need your medicine! Grandma! Now come on, Grandma, don't skip your dose. You know you need your dosage.
Yeah.
No.
Maybe. It sounds like it. But yeah, that's how it feels like in a Ross.
Yeah, Ross, it's hit or miss. Like, is it worth the trauma for a deal? In this economy, yes.
In this economy, yeah.
Okay, so dream gig, budget is not an issue. Skill level in making a costume, not an issue. Dream cast, list it off. What would it be?
Oh god. I don't know.
You're like, just give me the money and I'll be fine.
Just give me the money. Fine. You need
Just
to
give me the
No,
money.
I would love to pay all the wonderful performers. Honestly, I'm so bad. I really just know like the Tucson scene, honestly, except for Naksha Datura.
Mhm.
It's Naksha something. Fake fan.
We'll
Anyway,
put it up here.
Yeah.
I know who
She's
you're
right
talking
here.
about,
She's
but
lovely.
I'm dyslexic, so I don't know.
Yeah. I'm like, Naksha, yep, that one. And she was wonderful. So like, who was we were talking about?
Coco Kane.
Coco Kane.
Yes.
Really lovely.
Mhm.
Nail Emrit, really lovely.
Mhm.
I do love my Tarpies. The Tarp Queens cast, I would have to have them.
Absolutely.
You know, Clairvoyant definitely left an impression with me. Suicide in Florida, if you're seeing this, if you're watching this live, I love you, and I think you're incredible, and your makeup slaps hard as fuck, if we can say the F word on here.
Yes. This is the devil's show.
Okay, wonderful. So, yeah, your outfit slap hard as fuck, and I love all your photo ops, and your insect look was, like, incredible. So I feel like if we're like working with that as like a base cast, this is like, if there's as much money in the world as possible, if you know me, then yeah, you're in the show. Okay,
Yeah,
like this is no holds bar. These are like honorable mention. Like
Everyone's getting paid.
everybody's getting paid. If you show up, you get to perform.
Mhm.
And I would really like to see like a very open-ended show where the theme is like gold. Like I like open-ended, but like gold, like accents. Regal, yeah, like a little bit regal, but not like necessarily colonial regal.
No.
You know.
No.
I think, you know, a little bit angelic, maybe, possibly. Angels are also sometimes very evil. You know, that's something about angels is that not all of them like people. That's like a whole fucking thing.
Like the devil, maybe?
Like literally the devil.
Just saying. I started the trend.
Yeah, no, like he was like, hey, boss, this isn't based. And boss was like, fuck you, die, go to hell.
And I was like, let's go. A whole place for me. I guess I'll be the king of the underworld.
No, he was like, hey, maybe we should actually be kind of cool to people. Maybe humans are like, maybe we like them. Maybe they're onto something. And then boss was like, nah. So, long story short, you can be angelic in many ways, and sometimes evil ways.
Yes. What would your number and costume be like other than angelic and gold and regal?
Right, okay. So I think that I would do something with like my other favorite motif, which I've never done anything drag-wise with just because I think there is a technical skill set involved, is I love alligators. I'm like obsessed with alligators, so I think like a gold like alligator skin look with like where like my skin looks like alligator skin.
Nice.
To some extent, and like big gold fangs.
Oh
like,
yeah.
I could definitely see something to that effect. And then I don't know how that would fit in with the theming, but that's my answer.
Yes. We'll take it all. But I'm subtracting 10 points. Just kidding. Okay, what's the score now? -666? Yes.
Sounds like a win.
Yeah. So, thank you so much for having me today and getting me some ink, you know? Now I'm a certified daddy.
Branded.
Yes, so we are here in your studio. It's been a lovely time. Now, where can the babies find you?
The lovely Devil Babies can find me at Inked and Able Tattoo on Instagram. You can find me at Able Stone on Facebook, where there's a lovely picture of me smoking a doink on my porch. If you're a Facebook user in this economy. And you can also find me in person, in the flesh, at Celestia Collective, which on Instagram is celestia.collective, which is where this lovely corporeal space exists outside of your phone.
Yes. So come and visit and then get some new ink. Yay! Well, thanks so much for visiting. Well, visiting me at your studio.
Thanks for having me at my studio.
Yes! It's been a lovely time. Well, bye, Internet!
Thank you.